Welcome to ElectriCute, where we introduce you to our favorite e-textiles products and how to use them. I'm Dia, SparkFun's textile specialist.
And I'm Nick, creative technologist. And today, we're going to talk about how to put together an inexpensive, illuminated costume that'll keep your kids safe on Halloween and enhance an otherwise boring store-bought costume.
And we're going to do that using LED string lights. You might recognize these from your local craft store where you'll find them in the bridal aisle. They recommend them for use in bridal centerpieces, but they can be so much more. For $10 to $20, you're getting 10 meters of string, which is 100 LEDs, all of which can be lit on one coin cell battery or a couple of AA's. That is a lot of bang for your buck. They're also waterproof, which makes them very safe. The string of lights itself is really well insulated, so you don't have to worry about getting that wet at all. Your battery pack won't be waterproof, so I recommend covering that with saran wrap or something just to insulate it from water if you're concerned that it's going to rain or that your garment might get wet. They're also very easy to use. All you have to do is put on a power supply and attach them to your garment and you're good to go.
On the other hand, there are a few downsides to using these LED string lights over another e-textiles product. You do have to solder them in order to use them. We sell the string lights without a power source attached so that you can choose the best way to power them. That does mean you'll have to connect it in some way to that power source, and the most effective way is to solder them. So if you don't have any soldering equipment available, you can get an inexpensive soldering iron, and that will allow you to actually connect a power supply. If you don't want to solder anything, there are other ways to connect it. You can twist them together and you can tape them together, but you won't get as secure a connection. Also, they're not addressable, which means that either the entire strip of LEDs is on or it's off. You can't turn on or off individual lights on the string. And the other thing you have to keep in mind is that because they are made of a solid core wire, they are not as flexible as, say, a series of lily pad LEDs that are sewn into a garment using a conductive thread, which would be very flexible. These are flexible and they will have a little bit of give in your garment, but they're not going to do well if you're bending a small piece of them back and forth repeatedly. When you buy the string lights, they won't come with a power supply attached. So in order to light them up, you're going to need to connect them to a battery of some kind. The easiest way to do that is to actually connect it to a coin cell battery holder and power it using one of these 2032 coin cell batteries. Before you go to solder the battery connector to the string lights, you want to make sure you have the polarity matched up. Because they're LEDs, it does matter which way they're connected. To check, we're just going to go ahead and put our coin cell battery into the battery pack and then connect it one way. You're not going to hurt it if you're wrong, so you can connect it one way, and if it doesn't light up, then just swap the connections and it should light up that time. Most of these LED strings can be powered with a coin cell battery or two AA batteries, but because the RGB string requires a little bit more power, we recommend using a 3 AA battery holder. And you're going to connect this in much the same way as you would the coin cell battery holder. We're just going to take the ends of our wires and connect them to the very tips of the LED string and then solder them in place. Once again, I'm going to check the polarity real quick just to make sure that I have it right. So I'll turn my battery pack on and then I'll connect the wires, just holding them against each other. And if it doesn't turn on, I know I've got it backwards. And I'll swap them just to double check. And they come on. And now I'll just add a little bit of solder to each of these. If you want to protect these from breakage or from a wet environment, then you can obviously put a little bit of shrink tube on this wire before you solder it and then slide it over your solder connection. Or you can wrap it in some tape, or a little bit of hot glue will work as well.
You can also use these lights in tandem with a controller board such as the Lily Twinkle. Doing that allows you to pulse them on and off. Just remember that the individual lights aren't addressable. You can treat the whole strand as though it's a single LED. Check your polarity just like you did with the coin cell, and then attach the negative wire carefully to the negative pin on your Lily Twinkle. Secure the positive wire to any one of your numbered pins. You can separate one of your strings into 4 strings so that you're covering all of your pins. and then they'll twinkle one to another so that you've got a number of lights on at any given time.
There are a lot of ways to connect these LED string lights into your garment, and I'm going to tell you about a few of the ways that we found are the most reliable. The fastest way and the easiest way is going to be to use safety pins. In order to use safety pins to connect the LED string lights, you want to make sure to make little loops that the safety pin can go through that'll keep the string from moving back and forth and just sliding through the safety pin. Now, instead of using safety pins, if you wanted something a little bit more permanent, you could easily hand sew just a few stitches around each of these small loops to hold them in place. Or if you don't have any time but you want a semi-permanent connection, you could use hot glue as well. If you want to secure the entire string down to the garment so that it doesn't move at all, you can use a wide zigzag stitch on a sewing machine. Unfortunately, that can cause some bunching and it's a pain because all of the LEDs get stuck under the foot of the sewing machine.
These are also really fun to add into braided hairstyles. Just part the hair to the side, attach the battery pack at the nape of the neck where it'll be hidden by the hair, wrap the LEDs around to the top, and then integrate them into a crown braid around the head. Once you've looped it around, go ahead and use any extra lights around and do the same on the other side. We hope we've inspired you, and we encourage you to look beyond Halloween and find ways to integrate these lights into your projects year-round.
They're a great way to make sure that Santa can't miss your stocking, to turn heads at a New Year's Eve party, or even to try your hand at an easy way of making your cosplay shine.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.